Tonight we're going to talk about the NFL Combine. We have some special guests. We have Matt Bernstein, and later we have Coach Herman here on Sports Live with Steve and Justin. All right, now that we're done with the hokey stuff, Matt, how the hell are you? Good to see you again.
Guys, thanks for having me. I love being on this. I love you guys, so I appreciate it. I'm good. You know, we're getting through the snowpocalypse this year, just shoveling, it feels like all day long.
It's so
Yeah.
funny because I had like the flu or a weirdo virus right after it started to get warm. I've been here. I haven't left my house in 4 days. And I did on my other podcast, I do this history podcast. I did a 3 hour interview of some writer who wrote a book about John Lennon's assassination. And I was like dying. You know what I mean? Like I was so sick, and you're like, you look at your picture and you're totally pale, and like it's just tough. But this is always fun because I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's the thing out. So today we're going to talk about the combine a little bit, player development, whatever. I don't know, wherever you guys want to start. Go ahead.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for joining us. Good to see your face again.
Always. Always a pleasure, Justin, to see you.
To our viewers and listeners, make sure you like and subscribe. We're talking with Matt Bernstein, former Wisconsin Badger, current Senior Director of Development.
And I tried like hell to download that little clip where you jump over the Penn State guy, but I couldn't do it.
I'm sure you're not tired of seeing that.
I watch it every day.
I,
It's a
believe
1 minute
me, if
clip.
that
I
was
actually
me, I'd be walking around the streets. Hey, did you ever see this? I was flipping through.
as you make a joke, I do send that in my emails, my intro emails. Like, hey, this is Matt Bernstein. Look at this link here, and it goes to that 1 minute, game day experience that I had. So I'm very proud of it. I think it's like something one of like the top 3 coolest things that ever happened to me. So yeah, I'm proud of it. I share it with a lot of people. My wife's sick of it already. I still watch all my highlight tapes from high school. So football's just ingrained in my pores. It's not going anywhere. It's just there.
I was watching that game live at the candlelight.
Yeah, well, there's no better place to watch a game than live at the candlelight.
I was behind the stick that night. That was a lot of fun. So we'll get right into it, Matt. You graduated 20 years ago. That's kind of hard for me to fathom myself. I've known you for almost 30. That's crazy. So you're at Wisconsin. You're a senior. You were hampered with an injury that you played through. You toughed it out against Michigan. I think you re-injured you had a sports hernia. How did that time from being out until the combine? What did you have to do to prepare for that? When did you know that you were going to go to the combine?
So these are great questions. I haven't thought about this in 20 years. So I got hurt after the Michigan game was the 4th game of the year. I could hardly walk. So it was just rehabbing, trying to fix it. And so we basically went with an agent that was more, they're athletes first in California. They're more known because I was, one, coming off an injury, and two, a fullback, which is not a huge. So I went to California and trained in the second part of in the spring, I guess in the winter, which is really interesting. Looking back, I probably wouldn't have done that. I mean, I would have probably stayed in Madison. The problem is I needed to get out of Madison. I was having way too much fun, and so it
I
worked
know
out.
we came to visit you.
Yeah, way too much fun. Figured out the injury to the hips, and my agent was like, "Hey, they want you to play in the spring game, or not the spring game, the Senior Bowl." And I was like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever heard." And then he's like, "Well, I'm advising you not do that because your injury and blah blah blah." And I was like, "All right, well, if you guys are saying that, then sure, I'll just forego it," which kind of sucks, to be honest. So I didn't go to the Shrine game. I think that's what it's called.
East West Shrine.
East West Shrine game. So I skipped that. But then he's like, dude, you're going to the combine. I didn't think I was going to go. Being injured, being a fullback, I don't know if there were other fullbacks there that year. Maybe one, but I don't think so. You at one point, they line you up in alphabetical order. No, only with your tights on. No shirt, no nothing, no socks. So I'm walking, and you get up on a stage. It looks like picture like you're at a musical at high school, and you're on the stage, and you're looking out into all the people who came to see their kids. That's what it was, but with all the coaches, and you have no clothes on. I mean, but the coolest part about that experience was right behind me. If anyone remembers, in 2005, it was Bernstein, another B, Reggie Bush. So I was like, damn, that's Reggie. I'm standing 5 feet away from him. I'm like, that's Reggie Bush.
And he was
right
a beast, too.
He was the Heisman Trophy winner. I was the coolest. I was like, man, Reggie, I am a huge fan. So like, in this ridiculous kind of like meat market, I got Reggie Bush, but it was really cool to be, honored. I felt it was a huge honor to go to the combine. Little did I know, it's like having a kid. You don't know anything until you're there or you have one. Like,
right.
I showed up and they're like, don't even unpack your bags. Get on the shuttle. You're going to the hospital. I'm like, for what? I'm fine. They're like, well, so they get the packet from the trainers and they know every injury you've ever had. If your fingernail fell off, they're probably checking your fingernail. So I went and I got x-rays, MRIs, more than I've ever gotten since. I don't know how much
before you even ran a drill?
Oh, the drills are the last day. You have to get to the last. Everything you see on social media and like the TV and all that stuff, it's the best part. It's the drills. Yeah. Everything in between or before is the god awful. You're up all night. You're up in the morning. I didn't have a great experience, but I was like exhausted by the end of it. So the first thing you do is you go to the hospital, right? And you get all everyone's pushing and prodding and touching and x-rays, and I don't know why you need multiple. So then I went, if you want, Justin, I can go right into like the schedule. I was there. Do you have?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So I did that. They put you with you're in a hotel room with some random dude, some lineman. I had no idea who it was. So it's a little off-putting. Just, they just throw you in with some random dude, which I don't really care that much, but it was still a little weird. Then at one point they have you hit every team doctor. So I thought it was really cool. I'm like, oh, all these team doctors, all these teams want to know about me. Every team doctor sits you up and they're like, oh, how's your hips? I'm like, dude, they feel great. And then they start pushing and moving and prodding and all these things. Any injury, knees, they're like, oh, how's your neck? I'm like, it's fine. Never got hurt there. So weird question. And by the end of it, the doctors are pushing in the hips. The guy's like, are you okay? And I'm like, you're the 32nd finger to be pushed in there. So it kind of is starting to get aggravated a little bit. Which is really interesting. It takes forever. So they do that. They interview you, take whatever that test was.
So every team doctor took a look at you?
If they want
or
to.
Felt like,
they don't have to, but they do. It's a lot of work for the, 2 or 3 days you're there, or 1 or 2 or 3 days.
So were you tender? Were you tender already by the time you got done with the medical?
I was fine, but tender. Like, imagine if someone, you guys are healthy right now. Imagine if someone just pushing on your arm all day, pushing on whatever muscle you have. Like, it's just pushing. So I was like, guys, it hurts a little bit. You guys have been touching it for about 3 hours, and it takes forever.
Hey, Justin, Jim is waiting. You want to just text him, tell him, give us 5-10 minutes, and we'll get him?
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. So go ahead.
So you do all that stuff. One of my favorite things was they're like, okay, you're gonna you have to take a drug test. I'm like, great. I take a drug test anytime you want. They're like, it's tomorrow at 6 a.m. I'm like, okay, that sucks, but fine. So I get there at 6 a.m. I don't fill the cup up, right? So they're like, well, you have to wait here to fill the cup up.
Oh, Jesus
so I'm like,
Christ.
This is awful. So I fill the cup up.
Now they red flag you for being dehydrated.
I fill the cup up, and then they're like, okay, hey, Matt Burns, and they have a number. You're like, running back 3. They're like, oh, wow, you're up on the bench in 20 minutes. I'm like, up on the bench to do the reps? So you literally, I'm doing push-ups on the floor that get you in there. You do a couple warm-ups. maybe a set. And we all know, like, when you max out, you do like 5 or 6 sets in between there. So then the guy's like, all right, you're up. And we just, repped it out. It was, I mean, I didn't do well. Like, you're in no right mental headspace. It's probably why the combine, they see if you're successful or not, because they put you in these awful situations. And then the next day was all the drills. So it's really interesting. Like, I had a good time. Here's the best. I'm slated to go home. And they're like, all right, Matt, you're up. You're good. We're done with you. And then somebody's like, hey, Bernie, wait, we're not ready. You have to go back to the hospital. I'm like, for what, dude? And they're like, I don't know. They need more x-rays. So I had to go back to the hospital that night. So that the best night was that night I had to stay back over. So I was in my own room because they couldn't put you up with some random
Everybody went home.
So I'm in my own room and I ordered room service and I got like, Justin, you loves like 30 chicken wings. And I just sat there like a pig after, doing all this stuff, just eating chicken wings and watching TV. But it is an experience. Like I said, Reggie Bush was behind me. Brian Calhoun was behind him, who was my teammate. You're getting up, you get measured, your fingers get measured. They put you up, they do your body mass. They tell you're in this room. It's a huge ballroom with all these coaches from every team and multiple people, right? It's not like, this is big business. And, they put you in one of those like little spaceships that read all your readings. And then they just get you up there and they tell everyone your readings. So like, if you're fat, they fat shame you up there. Like, it's hilarious. It is like a whole different wild West experience. They're like, Matt Bernstein, 265, 6 feet 3/4. They like, they're to the T on everything. It was pretty cool. Like like when I was leaving, my friend who was a tight end was coming. So they have multiple iterations, throughout I guess a week or two.
Right.
It was cool to be in Indianapolis. Like, the whole experience overall was pretty cool. It's just a hard experience. I don't know if, like, Reggie Bush didn't do anything. So for him, it was a cakewalk.
Yeah. Is there something like a specific drill that you would say, because some guys, they just live in the gym. They're gym rats.
Yeah.
Is there a drill that separates football players from just guys that love to work out?
I would say that they have like 4 or 5 drills that they show on everything, the broad jump, the high jump. They do the pro agility. They do the 40-yard dash, and there's the side to side one. I can't remember what it's called. My thing was, when I got there, it was catch every football, because you do all those drills and you kind of, it's kind of cool, and like you see everyone doing all those things, but to me, the most important was when you're getting worked out, all the teams are watching, and it's like, can you catch all the balls? Do you run out after you sprinting afterwards? I think you see some people, like, you're there it's the combine, so all these people are like the best of the best.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show that I could just work harder than all these people. So I was running it out. I caught every single football, jogged back. I was dying, but jogged back, to the line. So I thought, to me, that was the most important aspect.
Right.
So you're a character guy, and I've known you for a long time. And would you say that the coaches, obviously, they're watching everybody do all these drills, and they're going to have everything down on paper for them in case they miss something, like Aaron Glenn sleeping at the draft. Yeah. But if you're there, how much do you focus on what you're doing versus what you think the coaches are looking for in terms of, like, are they measuring your character while you're there?
I would say yes. I also, I know that they have private investigators. They call your coaches, your parents, your friends. Like, I would say for me, I wasn't as high level as, let's say, a Reggie Bush or whoever, the top. I would say the top 10 people are the most scrutinized human beings, for that time period.
Big money.
Because you're giving, I mean, they said it's like $50 million for the first person, almost all guaranteed. So, that's a big investment you're making. So you want to make sure these people are stand up. They call it, and you've met some would come to practice. So you've met coaches and people within the other organization. So you're usually not new to, let's say, the Jets or the Giants. They've known you for years and your character and stuff. So, they still do background checks. They're like, oh, have you ever been in trouble? All that stuff. And they want you to answer, there's I don't remember, it's a 100 questionnaire about your character, like, did you ever smoke weed before? And I tried to answer it as faithful as
Right.
faithful.
Did you ever?
They're like,
put
have
a
you ever
call-
dropped a football? Literally said, do you ever drop a football in a college game? And I said, yes, one. And they're like, when? And I named the time and date. So it's pretty nuts. They really ask in-depth questions about you, and so I know a lot of people lie about that. They're like, no, never. I was like,
It's just a pretty simple, straightforward thing, not to lie.
yeah, I mean,
I
people
mean,
lie about it.
you drop
I
one
don't care.
football, it's not a big deal. It's more that you knew exactly when, and those kinds of things. That's what I see as being important when you're judging.
I never
somebody's
dropped the
character.
football because I never had anything thrown to me, so I don't have to worry about that.
I never actually played, but that's a whole nother story. You don't want to know about that.
What would be one piece of advice that you would give any of these kids this week when they're walking into an interview with the coaches or doctors or even former players that you would say maybe you experience yourself?
That's a great question. I would just say be yourself. Answer honestly. I don't think you had to. You don't have to be defensive. You don't have to. You see all these things on. We're starting to get more of a look behind the curtain with what's the thing on HBO?
Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. So you're seeing what's going on in these offices, and I think it's going in and letting your passion for football and your hard work mentality just kind of be the most important.
Right.
And if you don't know something, I went. Was it with the Jets? And I met with them. Was it the Giants? I met with I can't remember who it was. And they're like, run this play for me. And they said some random play. And I was like, Coach, I don't know that play. And the guy's like, why don't you know it? And I'm like, well, I don't know how I would know it. And he's like, okay, let me explain it to you. And I was like, I don't get it. Where on earth would I have seen this play? So, I feel like you just got to be open and honest and just be yourself. I mean, it's really got to be fun for you, or else it's going to be, you're going to lose your mind at how crazy it is.
I have one more question for you before we cut you loose. And again, thank you for your time. We're talking with Matt Bernstein from the University of Wisconsin, the Believe podcast, which you can find on believe.com.
I think it's anywhere you find podcasts.
Yeah. If you were going through the process today with social media, which is leaps and bounds ahead of where it was when you graduated.
Yeah,
it was there, but it wasn't like it is today.
Right.
NIL money, the constant online analysis from talking heads like us and, all the rest of them, how different would you be today, or would you feel today versus then?
I think the world is a definitely different world than it was 20 years ago. I mean, you can't go to the bar without somebody videotaped. I mean, Justin, how many times I've been in the bar with you, I would have been videotaped, right? And
after high school,
after I was 21. But I mean, there's so much more. I think the athlete has changed. You're not going out as much. You're on social media. You don't go to the bars to meet a significant other. You literally go on your phone. So I think a lot has changed in that area. I mean, I personally think it's sad. Like, going to the bar and talking to people was what energizes me. But I think the athlete has changed. You have to be really serious and safe.
Yeah, you're a social guy. You're good in that environment, and people like you, and you're a people person. So that would be tough.
I mean,
to live through
years
that.
ago, I had a guy work for me. He was a truck driver when I had a trucking company, and he was on a full scholarship to, I want to say, Iowa. It was either Iowa State. Yellow and black were the colors. I don't remember which one it was. And he said, we didn't have time to go out and do anything else. We were together when we ate breakfast. We were together in the afternoon. We were together at night. We never were apart from anyone, so we didn't have an opportunity to really screw up.
There's, during the season, you only go out Saturday night. I mean, that's what we did. There are rules, at least at Wisconsin, that you could only drink Saturday and Sundays. You couldn't drink throughout, Monday through Friday. Obviously, you play Saturday. And then, I can't remember if it was like midnight was curfew, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday was 11. We had these rules, right? That you pretty much a lot of people stuck with. If you were either injured or redshirting, maybe you didn't stick to those rules. Like you went out on a Friday before a game, but you weren't going to play.
Right.
So there's a bit of that, and you're there for a reason, right? I went to Wisconsin to play football. I mean, I went to get an education. Sorry, Wisconsin, but I went to play football. That's really, let's be real, why
Right.
I went there. And so I took it seriously, being under that. Our coaches at Edgemont would call you on Friday night at 10 o'clock to see if you were in your house. They'd call your landline. It doesn't happen. It might not even have a landline. And then my favorite part was they'd call you 10 minutes later to make sure you didn't go out afterwards, after you got the call. So, I took that
That's because
seriously.
they had money on it.
Well, we were good in high school, so nobody wanted to. But I think I learned some valuable lessons in high school where it was respect your team, don't do these things, don't go out. You policed your team. Like if someone was out
Right.
Friday night and you could tell that they were slacking off, you're like, dude, what are you doing? Don't do that. But we went out. We went out Saturdays. I can't say that I would have done what I did in college with cell phones the way they are and with videos and all these things. Like there's just too much space for bad things to happen, and I didn't do anything bad, but I'm sure if you videotape me in this small window of time, you would be like, oh, look at this degenerate, or look
Right.
at how drunk he is, or look at this idiot.
Nothing
So-
good happens after midnight.
Nothing good happens after midnight. So I'm just happy that I lived through a time period when NIL wasn't around, although I would like to have made a lot of money. But what did it take away? Imagine not having friends, locker room that you call, an alma mater that I call my own. Now these guys go to 3 or 4 schools. Like, where do you graduate from? What's your alumni? Like, are you 4-team alumni? I just don't. I don't know how you're. Do you have friends? Maybe you pull 1 or 2 friends from that university and you leave.
Right.
Like, it just seems all that stuff is. I know we pivoted. All that stuff seems pretty sad. But I would give people the advice of, like, I went to California. I thought I worked hard, but now looking back, it's like, dude, you could have worked harder. But that's, I guess, always
Yeah, but you
looking
didn't
back.
know what you didn't know. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
may not know how to have worked harder. You may have thought this is as hard as I can work, and then you learn what you need to do. Experience, right?
If I
Failure
could go
breeds
back,
experience brings success.
right? We worked out like 4 times a day, so it wasn't like we weren't doing it. I would just say you could have worked out 5. I don't know. You're
Wow.
going towards this thing like the NFL that only 0.1% of the human beings can get there.
Yeah.
If that, maybe it's I need and I'm not saying I didn't work hard. I busted my butt and I was super strong and I was ready to do it. But I still think, like, no matter what, you could always work harder.
Yeah. All right.
So work hard, be smart, be honest.
Yeah, like I said,
Right.
treat
Chips
people
fall
with
where they lay.
respect. Treat people with respect. I mean, Justin, I've always been a happy guy and talk to everyone, and
Yeah.
I think it's a really easy way to, I don't know, make people happy around you and be happy too. So not everyone wants to talk to everyone. People want to sit at the bar and drink their beer by themselves. Hey, if that's how you get happy, then by all means. But I'm a BSer, so I'll talk to you all day.
I can tell.
That's why we brought you on the podcast.
But I'll tell you, like, the stuff you see at the combine is the best part of it, and there's so much underneath it that's so bananas. I mean, I don't even know how much the NFL must spend on the it must be tens, $100 million. I mean, it's asinine how many. I can't get an MRI without paying $5,000. I just don't get them anymore because my insurance only covers it. But I got like 20 in one day. First of all, I should be like Superman. I'm radiated to the brim. But imagine how many
MRIs are
MRIs everyone
magnetism.
gets. Yeah, well, I mean, I got
not
X-rays too.
Mm.
It all works. Everything is okay, but it's a lot of being, and the doctors who are seeing you, they don't care about you for once. That's another thing. No one's going to care about you. It's like when my wife gave birth. They didn't even know I was in the room.
There's no patient relationship.
No, you're just in
Right?
there to get an MRI.
Their
Yeah.
relationship is with somebody else.
Right.
So
Right.
they don't give it if you're
They don't
alive or
care.
dead.
It was one of those very interesting, like, awakening moments of, wow, they're just saying, go to this room. They don't tell you your results.
You
Like,
just
they don't
joined the
care.
army.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, cut your hair, you're good to go. it was very interesting. I actually think it was one of the cooler things I've done, but still, I would never want to do it again.
Yeah, well, we thank you for your perspective. We thank you for taking the time to come on.
Thanks for joining
It's
us,
always a
Matt.
pleasure. Whenever you want to come back, just let us know.
Please, I'm always happy. I love chatting with you guys.
All right.
Thanks a
so
lot,
much.
pal.
Anytime.
Talk to you
Anytime.
soon.
Yep. Be well.
Bye.
Am I good? Do I have to wait for the uploading?
Yeah, but you have to. I don't
I
know
have
how
to
to
click
kick.
out.
I don't know how to kick you out.
All right. Bye, guys. They didn't teach me this at the combine either. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. That was great.
A lot of
I got
insight in
Coach
short time.
Yeah, it was great. It's great. Good perspective. Bring in Herman.
Yeah, let's get Jim in here.
Hmm.
Ho!
Whoa! Look at
Look at that
action.
backdrop.
Oh my God! Is that where you really are, or are you just
I
pretending?
thought that'd be. What's that?
Is that where you really are, or is that fake backdrop?
That's
hear
a
us?
fake background.
Oh,
I don't think you really want. I don't think you really want to know where I'm at right now.
no, you don't want to know where I'm at either. What are you in the bathroom sitting on the toilet? I had a flu
I'm sure
on
it's
for
warm
three-
where you
for
are.
3 days, and so I appreciate that view. How are you?
There you go. How you guys been?
Good.
Good, thanks. It's good to see you.
We were
I'm
just
good.
talking
I'm
about.
down here in Cincinnati visiting my parents. So,
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I like
Trust the mom and
Cincinnati.
dad.
There used to be a rib place I used to go to there. I can't think of the name
great
of it.
city.
Yeah, really is pretty nice.
Montgomery Inn.
Montgomery, that's it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think I had hair when I
When you
went
come
there.
to town, you got to go there.
Yeah, it was good, and
That's a while ago.
it was quite a while ago. Before I even went to college, forget about going to law school. So yeah, it was a long, long time ago, and it was good though. I went to a baseball game. Stadium was great. You know, it was cheap. I couldn't believe how cheap it was to
Yeah,
go to a ball game. I was like, no, I want good tickets. No,
Yeah.
these are good tickets. And I'm like, oh my God, you should come to New York. So anyway, we were talking about, how are you, Coach? You're good? Everything's good?
I'm doing great. Doing great. I go back to Florida on Thursday, so.
I knew you didn't get that
Jump
tan
in
in
the pool.
Cincinnati. So anyway, we were talking about the combine
for
a little
sure.
bit, and we just had a player's
Yeah.
perspective how going through the combine. I don't know if that's something you ever experienced, or you know, what your thoughts are about it.
I never experienced the player one, but for sure, 15 years going to it as a coach and seeing how it changed over 15 years and how it's changed even since when I left. I mean, it's I've watched quite a bit of it, both on TV and social media wise, and you know these kids today. I mean, they're training for this combine when they start as a freshman in high school, and
Yeah,
you can tell just based on all the records that are being broken, the 4.24s and the 40-yard dash.
right.
You know, these kids are smashing it, and but you know, as you know, as well as I know, it still comes down to the person.
Yeah.
I go back to listening to Kirk Signetti before the national championship game. He said, "Look," he said, "you know, there's guys on my team that are 2-star, 3-star. Well, that's somebody else's rating. They were 5 stars in my rating
Right.
because of the type of person he was, where he came from, his competitive spirit, and you know, the combine's great. You get measurables, you get times, and you get to see them. But I looked at, I was reading something this morning, and they were talking about the wide receiver from USC who had a great combine going, but he blew all his interviews.
Oh
They
yeah.
just, yeah, they dumped him. And so he lost millions of dollars because someone gave him the wrong advice. And what a shame, because I think a lot more people are going to look at football players a little bit more like Signetti talked about. Like, look, you know, I may see this guy as a first rounder for us. You may see him as a fourth rounder. And, you just got to be able to stick to your guns and make those decisions.
Right.
And me personally, I think they should take all 32 owners and ship them over to Australia during the draft, so they can't mess with it.
I'm
And
with you on that.
let the coaches and let the pro personnel people, make their decisions. But you get guys that get in there that they read the blogs, they read the newspaper, their family members are telling them, "Oh, hey, this is a great player," and all that shit. And that's when you get franchises that never win.
Right.
That's why.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
why
you only
And that's why
it's like analytics.
you get 5 to
Analytics
7
don't
picks.
work. Analytics don't work. And you could go through and name players that you could say to yourself, this guy won because he had heart. Maybe he didn't have as much talent, but he gave it the extra mile and he was there. Everybody, look at a guy like Edelman for New England. I mean, would you ever think he would be the type of receiver he was? No, you would never think that. But when
Yeah, I mean,
when the when the cock
you guys,
when
you
the
guys,
clock,
you guys remember?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
When the clock ticked and the game started, they're different people. Something happens to those guys, and they're just 120%, and they're all about winning and all about trying, and they leave
Yeah.
everything on the field. And some of those guys don't even practice well.
We had an offensive lineman we had an offensive lineman at the Giants, Richie Sorbert. Richie Sorbert was just a guy in the combines coming out. But I'm gonna tell you something. Game day, he was the most feared guy in the field for defensive linemen because he would cut you, hit you in the mouth, cut you the next play. He was the toughest guy, and guys didn't like playing against him. And he was all pro a couple years there, and really was a big part of that line with Sean O'Hara and Chris Snee and David Deal and
Right.
some of the other guys, but overlooked because nobody knew his name. He was a ninth round draft pick for everybody, and somehow the old regime or what got in there at the Giants picked him, and the rest is history. So, but
How do you, as a coach, when you're watching these players at the combine, you talked about all the measurables, the 40-yard dash, the broad jump, the high jump, this drill, that drill. But how do you get to a player to measure their immeasurables, their character, their ethic,
Right.
and how much does that factor when you report back, to the team, hey, look, this guy looks great on paper, but, or maybe it's the
well,
other way around.
no, it's for me. I was very upfront and honest. They would give me 50 to 60, 70 guys to look at and grade. And there were things that I wanted to see on film. And the film doesn't lie. It doesn't
Right.
lie. And one of the things that I would do, especially if we were going to interview him at the combine, is I always made up my own tape that I was going to watch with this kid in front of everybody in the organization. And there were going to be some good plays on there. There were going to be some plays where he had to talk through what they were doing. And then there was going to be some plays mixed in there where he looked like shit. And I wanted to hear him talk his way through that. And, you know, to be able to hear a guy, especially a competitive dude, you can tell immediately they get upset, they get pissed, and they know it. As soon as the clip comes on, they know it. They know what play it is and how they got blocked, how they got knocked down, how they got beat, and they're pissed. Some guys, you know, hey, well, you know, can't be perfect all the time. Da, 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 give me all that happy horse shit. You know, to me, I want a guy like Chris Spielman. Chris Spielman was with the Lions when I was with with Michigan, and he came up one summer, and he brought his tape with him. He made this tape every year of his career, and he brought the tape up. I had all my linebackers sitting there. It was probably illegal at the time. I don't know who gives a shit now, but he put the tape in, and it was every bad play from the season that he had. And he had a monologue, a way that he talked to himself about how that's not going to happen, what he's going to train to do, da 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 da. So that my guys are sitting back there, they're 18-year-olds going, holy shit, this guy's all pro linebacker, and he talks to himself this way. The self-talk is you know, like, you know, you got to be better. You got to move your left foot. You got to step. You know, and you know, I want that guy. I mean, Chris Spielman didn't shock anybody with his height, weight, and 40 time. I can promise you that. But you stick on that Ohio State film, and some bitch was all over the field, making plays left and right. And you know, those are characteristics that you're only going to find on film. You'll find him on film. You're going to see, can he self-correct? Can he correct a mistake that he had earlier in the game? You see it again. Yeah, there's something to be said for measurables, but I'll just tell you this right now. When you get to, you know, let's just talk linebackers. You get to 4.55 or 4.52 to 4.62. That don't mean shit. You know, if you feel like that guy's a first round or second round pick for you, pick him. All right. I don't give a shit if who has the greatest pro personnel, the Dallas Cowboys. They say he's a 7th round draft pick, or Mel Cooper, Kiper, whatever the hell his name is, who doesn't know shit about football. Well, you know, I project him as a 7th. Fuck him. Or, excuse me. I'm sorry. Screw him. You know, what do you think about him? You know, and there's a lot to be said for just sticking to your guns and you know, if you think he's for your team, go get him. You know,
it's funny what you say. I mean, you said the difference between 0.2 of a second or 0.02 of a second. I mean, but if the guy doesn't know how to use that, so what difference is it that he's faster than everybody else? Because he doesn't know how to use that to his advantage. You remind me of a story.
You
I
know,
remember
Charles.
Go ahead.
Charles Woodson told me once when he was playing at Michigan, and I can't remember who the hell we were going to play, and they had a really fast wide receiver, probably the fastest guy in the league. It might have been Iowa. I don't know. I can't remember so far back, but
Tim Dwight.
So yeah, it might have been, yeah. And I said to him, I said, well, what, you know, how are you thinking about playing him? He said, Coach, he said, let me tell you something. He's never been punched in the fucking mouth. He said, you watch the first play. And Charles said, regardless of the defense, he didn't give a shit what I called. He went up and he pressed the kid, and on the snap of the ball, he stuck out his inside hand and, I mean, knocked this dude to the ground to his knees. All that speed, it was gone. So
There's something to say for intimidation. But your first story reminded me of a story I heard Madden say once about when he went to see Vince Lombardi give a talk. You know, he went to see, he's a young coach. He thinks he knows everything about football, like most 18-year-old kids do. Thinks he knows everything about football. He goes to hear Lombardi. Did you hear the story? Give this instruction about all his offense. He said he for 4 hours, it was 2 parts, 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours at night. For 8 hours entirely, he spoke about one play. You know, a straight run up the middle. And he said off tackle, 4 hours on off tackle to the right, 4 hours on off tackle to the left. And he said, oh my God, I never realized how much I don't know about football. And it totally changed, you know, who he was and how he looks at things and how hard it is. Imagine Lombardi could talk about for an entire day one play, but that's really it. I thought a great story
Schimbecker
about
could talk a week on the power off tackle right.
right.
We're talking
Well,
with Coach Jim Herman from the Raiders
Yeah.
of Tyrol. When do you go back to Austria?
I'm going to take this year off.
Oh, okay.
I got some family things to take care of, and then maybe the next year. I don't know if you follow football there in Europe, but this year is a big transition year. There's 3 leagues now. The ownerships of each league are all questionable. So I'm kind of like, I want to step back and see, you know, see if they can unify, and they have what it takes. But the problem is there's a lot of haves and a lot of have-nots, and somehow, you know, nobody wants to watch a game 70-0.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to watch that, and there's quite a few of those games. Just because of the homegrown rule. Okay, well, that's great. In this country, there's a lot of homegrowns that are 5'8". You know,
Right. So
no, you ain't winning a whole lot of games.
that's
The talent pool isn't as robust.
Yeah, the brilliance of
43
you
of your
know,
53
Art
guys are
Rooney and
homegrowns, and they're 5'8".
the brilliance of Art Rooney and John Mara, where they said we need teams to play, so they have to make money too, or else there's going to be no league, right? But certainly the homegrown rule, I didn't realize there was such a thing. I think Canadian football has a limited rule too.
Yeah, it's you're allowed 4 Americans, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. Only 2 Americans can play at one time, and then you're allowed what they call 6 European tag players that can come from anywhere in Europe. So basically, you're looking at 10 guys. Really, only 8 can play on the field at one time, and then the rest of your team is all homegrown. So, you know, in a small country like Austria, you know, you're looking at Innsbruck, where I was, and that's a town of about 150,000 people.
Right.
And if you go, you know, 2-hour radius around, there's probably 2, maybe 3 other smaller division teams. And now, then you go out to Vienna, you're looking at a town with 2 million people, and you draw that same 2-hour circum, and there's about 12 teams around them. So it's tough. It's tough. And, you know, you just have to, they're going to have to do something. I don't know, because like Switzerland will never compete. They just don't have enough people. The
Right.
Germany teams, they will. Stuttgart, Dusseldorf, you know, Berlin, It's because they're dealing with 3 million people,
Right.
and percentage wise, you're going to find some ball players, and then to me, the team that's going to make a run there, I think, is Paris, because there's a lot of speed in Paris, and they're gonna compete here soon once they get everything in that they need. So um, it'll be interesting to watch how they do this year, and we'll see.
Get back to the combine for a second. So we had Matt Bernstein on before, and he was talking about his trip and his experience as a player, um, first getting to the combine, and they sent him to the hospital right off the bat to get checked by all the team doctors. That's the stuff you don't see on TV. So, what is that like for a coach coming into the combine? When you get there, what are your responsibilities?
Well, I'll just say this for the players: um, you truly learn about the NFL
The business.
when you go to the hospital, because it is truly a cattle drive. And there's 32 doctors, 32 orthopedic surgeons, and 32 MRIs, and you're going through it. You sit there and go, holy cow, I'm number 52. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm number 101 in line. That's it. And no one gives a shit about your name. It's just what your wide receiver 101. All right, here we go. All right, lift your leg, do this, do that, da da da. You guys are writing shit down, and you get pass right on down the line.
Right.
It is really, it is an eye-opening experience for those guys. And then if you get tagged, you're there all day. You'll have 90 other doctors looking at you. Like if you had an injury, or God forbid you had a concussion in college, you're going to be going through 17 psych exams before you even get to the combine. But for a coach, basically, if you're a coordinator, you come in when the first group of, let's say, defensive players come in, and you're there the entire time. And there'll be players that you need to look at, or that you're looking at, that you've graded. By that time, by the combine, you mostly have all your stuff already graded, college guys. So you have a pretty good idea. As a position coach, you're there when your group shows up, and you go to all the, which just blows my mind away, the waste of money. But you go to every single thing that they do, you're at watching. So
Right.
I've watched, I don't know, 7,000 guys bench press. And then you come home and you watch the same bench press on TV. You know what I mean? So you sit in your room that night and you watch the replay of the bench press just to make sure you got the right count. Ridiculous. But what I looked for wasn't necessarily the numbers. Again, I look for the competitive spirit. Like, did he fight to get the extra rep on the bench press? Like, or did he just give up? When he ran his 40, could he take instruction from the start? I can't tell you guys how many decisions in terms of how I grade a guy were based on, because I would sit right down there, right where they got into their stance. And there was a guy there that was from Pittsburgh. He's no longer there anymore, but he did it for 15 years, giving them instruction, what to do, how to start the drill, so on and so forth. and you're sitting there watching this kid, you're going, "Oh my God, how dumb is he? Like, this must be the dumbest guy I've ever met in my life." Like, and the poor guy that did it, I felt so bad for him. He was like, you'd have to blow his whistle, you'd have to bring him back. Said, "Okay, let me tell you again. You want to take all the line, da da da, so on and so forth. You got to give us one pause at the top, da 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 da." Kid gets up there again. I mean, wrong feet, wrong hands on the line. It's just like, wow. And that tells you something right there.
Right.
Like,
Can't take direction.
okay, simple instructions, simple instructions, and then you go over and you watch the L drill or the cone drill and the back and forth and all that. But then you do the positions, skill drills, and again, you're watching a group of guys take instruction from one coach, and first guy's got to go out. So everybody should be watching the first guy. It's amazing. Like, did you not watch the first guy in this drill? Like, you were 4 back and you came in here and lined up wrong. Like, really? Like, what? Okay, so that guy's going to play. That guy's going to play for you on Sundays.
That's
You know
common
what I mean?
sense,
You're
right?
gonna
You
line
watch
up
the guy
wrong.
before you. Even as a lawyer, when you're sitting in a room, the first guy that goes
Well,
before the
especially like
judge,
if you're at the end of the line,
you should know everything.
if you're at the end of the line, you've watched 30 guys go in front of you, and you get up there and do it wrong. Wow. Like, okay, all right, next. But and everybody has their own thing, and then you have what they call the train station interviews. Probably people don't know about the train station interviews, but basically there's a huge room. All 32 teams are in there. All the assistant coaches are in there, and you only get so many individual interviews where you actually bring them into your own room. Then you have what you call the train station interviews, which were 15 minutes apiece, and it's a cattle drive, man. You're grabbing guys, you got guys that are helping you, holding one behind, and you're trying to in 15 minutes get them on paper, trying to see what they know, what can they spit out, so on and so forth. You're calling them in the morning. Hey, look, I'm gonna be there at 6:15. Da da da. Start at my table, so on and so forth. It's a shit show for 3 days. Three
So there's
nights,
no uniformity to it whatsoever. It's a free for all.
free for all. It is a free for all.
You're
When that
fighting for
happens, are you
time.
watching other teams and who they're talking to?
We do have guys. Hold on. You guys can come in. We do have guys that watch other tables, yeah,
Yeah.
but we don't have a lot of. We don't have a lot of. You don't have a lot of guys. You only get so many tags to be able to go in. So you just got to kind of do it on your own a little bit. I would stand outside, and I shouldn't say this either, but I'd grab guys and, hey, where you going? "Well, I'm going back to my room." "Oh, hey, let's sit down here and talk for a little bit. you know. And then you had some coaches that their egos are so big they keep a guy for like 40 minutes. Like, really, dude? Like who are you? So what? I don't give a shit if your daddy was a coach or not. I mean,
Right.
you know. So there's a lot of that bullshit going on too. You know.
Wow.
But it was
What
fun. It was cool.
what would be one part of the combine that you'd like to see go away if you could scrap one drill or one piece of it, whatever you've experienced?
A great question. Wow. I mean, it's all good stuff. I don't know. I don't know. If there's anything I would correct, I would correct the train station somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
Get that where it's, like everybody gets a chance to, hey, you put your name in for these 15 guys and somebody does the schedule and bang, 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 the kid knows what table to go to.
It sounds like a speed dating type situation.
Oh, it
And
is speed
everybody's looking
dating
for
at
an
its
edge.
worst.
Yeah.
They
You know.
see the guy they want to date, and the girl sees, and they're grabbing him as he's coming in the door.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
funny.
And you got guys that you're supposed to interview. If you don't get them, you're screwed, man. You got to call them on the phone and try to do it over the phone.
Has the combine become more important over the years, or has it been kind of? Is it more for show now? I mean, they're showing it on television 3-4 days of drills. It's popular with the fans for
I
sure.
know.
But
I still
the
think it's
media making
important.
that? Is the
I think it's
media making
important
that
for the-
important? Because they're the media because they need something to talk about.
Well, yeah, because this time of year is the worst time of year that there is for sports, and Roger Goodell's gets paid a lot of money to make all these billionaires more billionaires. So, okay, hey, how can we do that? Well, look, we can have everybody's eyes for 8-9 hours a day for 7 days. Okay, great, let's do it. All right? And they
Right.
put it on there. I still think it's necessary because, like, if you're a team on the East Coast and there's a kid that you're interested in on the West Coast, you get a chance to see them. We used to go out and travel when I was at the Jets. I went out and interviewed guys at his school, probably 8 or 9 a year. Where you go out and you actually travel to the kid's school, meet them there,
Right.
work them out individually, get them on the board, talk to them. I don't know how much they do of that anymore. I don't know if it's allowed anymore, but we used to do that. But I think it's a good way for, of getting. I mean, everybody knows who the top talent guys are.
Right.
Well, there are some guys that are going to show at that combine where you sit and go, holy cow, we need to really investigate this kid. So for that fact, yes. And then, the other way around. Okay, this is supposed to be a great kid. You get him the combine. Oh, shit. You don't want him. He gets in there like the kid from USC. He gets in there and bombs the interview because he can't talk and chew gum at the same time. It's like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So for the team's sake, I think there's some merit to it.
What's the relationship between coaches at the combine and the college coaches that sent these players to the combine when it comes to evaluating off the field stuff? When you have a question or maybe a red flag about a guy.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope there, bud.
Yeah.
Very slippery slope, because if you and I use some of my contacts in college, which I had quite a bit, but you got to be careful how you give your information, who you give your information to, because if it gets back to a player or a player's parents, and then they start bad mouthing the program,
Yeah.
that's not good. And
Sinks your
it's
relationship.
very similar to the medical part of the whole thing too. Like those medical guys, they're very tight-lipped, because that's now you're infringing on HEPA and what all the other things that you got going on. So, I mean, I used to call guys that I knew, that I trusted, and they trusted me, to be able to give the information away. It never gets back to them.
So you're not making a cold call to some coach that you don't have a relationship with. You're relying on the network.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, when I was in college, I mean, especially when I was a coordinator, I got a lot of cold calls. And I would, I didn't care because at the time I wasn't thinking about going to the NFL, but oh, greatest kid ever, da da da, because you just don't want that coming back and biting you in the ass, and the kid's parent come in and say you cost us millions of dollars because you told Coach so and so from the Rams that my son's slow or whatever,
Right. Well, those teams really
You
need
just
to make
can't
their own
do that.
opinions.
It's
They can't really rely on somebody they don't know. They have to
to me.
come
Hey,
make their own
do your
opinions.
do your job. Do your job, and again, it's like Signetti said. Look, the guy you think's a 2-star, I think he's a 5-star. Okay, good. If you did your due diligence, go draft a kid, and go with it. To me, that's your best bet. But everybody's looking for an angle. But I mean, as you guys sit there and watch the history of the draft, how many bombs have there been in the first round? I mean, bombs. This guy is just like just bombs. Just
Yeah.
like, really,
Like Ryan Leach.
Vernon Golston.
No,
Well,
don't mention that name.
well,
You're not allowed to mention that name.
So, all right. Well, I'll bleep that out. So, what I think that teams don't think about too, especially when they're on early picks, is not only what it's going to cost to pay this guy now, but is this a player you want to keep after the rookie contract is out that you can have, that you're going to be willing to pay in the position that he plays? I think you routinely see teams that draft good players, that they end up being good players, and then they sign with another team when their rookie contract's up because the teams aren't willing to pay them the money that they're entitled to.
Yeah, you have a great point there, Steve. Because I'm gonna tell you,
The Jets and
you know,
Giants do it all the time.
I don't know what the I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are, but the first round, obviously, quarterbacks, defensive pass rushers, right? Corners, right? Wide receivers, right? Actually, offensive linemen, wide receivers, and then the rest. Running backs and linebackers are the last thing anybody thinks about. The last position, like linebacker, we'll go to free agent and we'll get us one. Hey, we got that one kid's. He's in his 12th year. He's got his legs shorter than the other one. He'll be good. Just coach him up. No problem. No problem. But and you're right. If I'm going to spend that money, all right, and I want to keep that kid after the rookie contract deal, then it's got to be a position where you're willing to spend money on.
Right.
That's why Luke Kuechly probably the last linebacker taken in the first round, other than this kid at Ohio State. Just because of what he can do, but very rare do you see a linebacker taken in the first round or a safety taken in the first round. But I mean, I looked at the combine speeds, and I'm sitting there, and there are 4 safeties that were at the top of the 4-2 chart before you even came to a corner. You're like, holy shit! Like, wow. So I don't know. But you're right about the whole scheme of things. Where's your roster going to be in 4 years? What do you need in your roster? What's retiring? What's going to retire? Who's injured?
What are you willing to
see?
what you're willing to pay? I mean, I think teams don't really think about that. They think about what the media, unsuccessful teams, routinely unsuccessful teams. They think about what the media, oh, we're going to draft the number one player. We're going to get the best player at the position. Well, yeah, 3 years from now, that best player's now he's one of the best at what he does, is now playing for somebody else because you didn't want to play the money. You wasted your pick because you stink then, you stink now, and you stink in 3 years.
And in another 9 years.
And another 9 years because you keep doing
You know
stupid
what?
stuff
I
like
don't-
that.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's
I
because
just know this.
it's ownership in
Like
NFL
you
is a
look at the
disaster.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if you guys know this, but they go up and they do their height, weight, arm length, and they do all that shit on stage. You come up, they do it, and then they walk off the stage, and then they're done. Except for the Pittsburgh Steelers have a table right there when they come off. They're the only team that does it. And they measure the circumference of the knee joints on every single player. They're the only team that does it, the knees and the wrist. And they do it for every single player. Now, I don't know what it is they're looking at or if they have a parameter that they work with. But I'm going to tell you this, they've been in the playoffs a lot. They got really good players. You know, some players they take nobody wants. Maybe they know something.
Right.
You know,
Maybe they
it's,
want
it's,
to.
it's kind of interesting. I don't see the New
Yeah.
York. I don't see the New York Jets with a table there. Their table's over at the bar. You know, I mean, I don't know. But
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know what. That's where they got to be. So I mean, nothing.
So they do need bartenders at the combine.
oh, big time.
So, you know, it's funny. You read all these articles, and
You know, the other thing too.
God, nobody cares
ahead.
what I say. Please just don't.
No, I was going to say there is another thing that you should know about the combine. Like, you know, you see all these marriages with future head coaches, and they have an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. If it's an offensive guy, he has his favorite defensive guy. There's a lot of that goes on at the combine where, you know, a guy like Sean McVay, you know, when he came out, he already knew who he was picking. He already interviewed him there. There's a lot of that going on within the combine also. You know, so I think it's, you know, in that sense, it's good for younger guys to get a chance, especially with the guys that will listen to him and talk to him and see what kind of a guy. That's why that whole tree of Shanahan, that whole right there, those guys used to meet all the time. And I remember DQ would go there and those guys, and it was a whole deal. LaFleur's, you know, all those guys are all kind of in there together. And even now, I think, even though they got some shit going on, but talking about each other, but all that happens there at the combine too. So,
How much more important is one versus the other, the combine versus a pro day for players?
I think pro days are important because the kid has a little bit longer to train. He's in his own environment, especially like if you're doing a receiver, his quarterback throwing to him. You know, he's on his own turf. But I would say by that time you've got a really good idea of how your position or how your team, how your draft board's stacking up. There might be a change here or there based on a pro day. Guy gets hurt. Guy shows up drunk out there.
Player shows up drunk to the pro day?
Oh yeah. Not at Alabama, but there was a kid that showed up at Alabama who almost passed out
Oh my goodness.
because he was out of shape. He did nothing.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, and everybody's watching like, really? You just quit the drill.
Wow.
I'm like, holy cow. So
Yeah.
just another chance to be in front of him and see him and seeing if he's a screw up, I mean, am I gonna tell the owner of my team to risk millions of dollars on this kid? I don't think so. He didn't show up for the third drill. He begged out, like, really, you want me to tell you that he's a great player? I'm not doing it. And, it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Well, listen, I got to get my dad back here in his room. He's sitting on the hallway.
No. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Coach.
Yeah, thanks. Just leave.
No problem. I miss you guys.
Miss you too.
You can leave your thing on so it totally upload and then just get out of the whatever system if you know how to do that. I don't know if you do. I don't know if I know how to kick you out. So
It probably says leave or something like that. You can just X out and then let it finish uploading.
Okay. All right.
Give my best to your wife, please.
I'm gonna push a
for your
button here. I
time.
hope it's not crazy.
all right. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Take care, Jim.
Yep.
Wow. Tell me those aren't two great viewpoints of the combine. Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that?
Where are you
On
getting that kind of stuff?
Any program, anything where people tell you their experiences at the combine without being jaded or worried about what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, two guys that'll give it to you straight, that's for sure.
Yeah. Really great.
Man, I
Thank you
could have
both.
went on for another 20 questions.
Yeah, I know, but we can't take up too much of the
No,
time.
no,
so.
yeah. I'm grateful that they
Anything
joined
else
us.
you want to talk about? Or you want to talk about what we're going to do next week? Or
I don't know where we're at next week yet because we're still
I have
waiting for some replies.
I have an idea of what we could cover. You ready?
Go for it.
Sorry, wrong video. I thought
Try
Okay.
again.
Guess we'll have to cut that out for now. Let's try this one.
Baseball. Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball for baseball. Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball. Now that would have been really
Baseball.
funny if I didn't screw it up,
Baseball.
right?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball. That still gets me. I love it.
It's great. One more time.
Baseball. Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball for baseball. Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball.
And I got to tell you one thing about it. I don't remember ever talking about baseball.
It's been
That's
so
the
long.
funniest. That was the top word of 2025, and I don't remember ever talking about baseball. I feel like all we do is talk about football.
The football's year round now. Oh man.
guess.
I did want to mention, how about Michael Jordan's crew? They've now won the first 3 races to start IndyCar.
Yeah, it really.
That's
is
pretty
amazing.
incredible. Never been done before.
Yeah. Well, you got to figure if you work for Michael Jordan, you got to say to yourself, "Oh God, here's a guy." You used to love watching him before the game. Hey, brother, how are you? Good to see you. Good, good. Shake his hand. Nice to see you. The jump ball, and he's like elbowing you in the head.
Straight cold killer.
Yeah, straight cold killer with it. Just an amazing talk about heart, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty incredible that where he is now in life, and good for him. God bless.
Yeah, well, he worked hard. He deserves everything, he gets. I know, if you want to talk about, some of the things, bad about him, he had a gambling problem or whatever it is, there were some issues. And of course, our friend David Stern, the Epstein magnet, apparently,
Yeah,
saved him from that. Had him go play baseball for a while, and when it all blew over, he came back. So, whoever's idea that was. So I think we should leave it there for now.
sounds good to me.
It was a great episode. I'm blown away by our guests. Thank you so much for bringing it.
We talked so much about the combine, we didn't talk about any players.
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody else can get that. You can go online and pick that up in a minute. Do we really need to talk about how the Jets and Giants are going to screw up the draft? We have plenty of time. We have plenty of time.
There it is. That's all I wanted.
We have plenty of time to do that. When you see, I tell you, the things that interest me are not necessarily the players coming in. It's the players that here. I'm interested in what happens to Tua in Florida. He's definitely going to be released before March 15th, which is where you got to pay that extra money.
Yep.
And I'm also interested in what's going to happen to the quarterback from
The Packers.
I don't know what's going to happen with the Packers. I don't know what's going to happen at Minnesota. You hear that they might try to get Geno Smith. I'm like, huh?
Boy, they whiffed, and
then
they got to be kicking themselves.
You have Pittsburgh. You have Aaron Rodgers. Where's he going? If he wasn't going anywhere, we'd know it already, right?
Yeah, there's been no buzz
somewhere.
The only thing we've heard is that he could return to Pittsburgh, which shocked us. I just can't believe he'd go back.
It shocks me that he would go back to Pittsburgh
to play for Mike McCarthy.
But it is the best place for him to go. Was he?
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree.
I mean, Pittsburgh, the team is, Pittsburgh has a way of always having a good team, like the coach just said.
Measuring their wrists and their circumference of their knees. That's just incredible to me. I have to look that up now. I want to know why.
I'm sure it means something. Maybe it just is an exercise in futility where they feel all the players that actually do it are ones that actually really want to play in Pittsburgh. That was my first thought when he was saying it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those things that are going on. I mean, you wonder what's going to happen to what's going to happen in Indianapolis. I don't know. There's
a lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks. On the heels of quarterbacks, former unsuccessful quarterbacks, like in Seattle, like in not Jacksonville, but the other Florida team.
Tampa Bay,
where they have quarterbacks that were not successful at their first teams and have become successful. and maybe that, it's funny. NFL always has trends, and just like running backs are the first thing, then receivers and the passing game now, and everything seems to. Meanwhile, it was the running game that won the Super Bowl, that in defense. So there's always these pass rushers are a big deal. And no, there always are. Sometimes
There's some
it's
incredible
mostly
talent
difference.
available too for your free agency, and obviously there's a lot of depth defensively in this draft. So there's definitely availability and avenues for teams to get better if they do it right.
And when I was listening to the coach talking about having heart, that's really what he was talking about. Seeing players want to play. The guy that comes to mind to me is Clowney. Here's a guy with all the attributes as possibly he could have as a player, and he just never seemed to have enough heart to really become that player. And he probably not even without that could probably become a Hall of Fame player. That's how talented he is.
Yeah.
But imagine if he had the J.J. Watt attributes or
Ray Lewis or Lawrence
or
Taylor.
Ray Lewis or anything. Those are the other players that names are getting thrown out to be traded. Is the defensive player in Las Vegas? Is he going somewhere?
Yeah. Why can't I keep forgetting his name with all the tattoos?
And I wrote it. I had written it down. Whatever. So, and also Myles Garrett too. He's had enough where he is. So
Yep. And he just got paid. He just got a huge contract.
So, and you hear rumors of some of these guys coming to the Giants. The guy from LA, from Vegas. Oh God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I could see his face.
Max Crosby is the Raiders guy.
Max Crosby. So, who knows?
You never know.
Weeks play out, we'll figure it out.
We'll see if they make some trades like Jerry did last year.
Yeah. At that, Justin, we'll see you next week.
Feel better, my friend.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.